What's up, y'all? It's Miles the Millennial.
And it's your boy Rex Howard Jr.
And this is Let's Talk Like Men, the podcast where we have real conversations about real topics, giving real advice to men like you everywhere. And we are back again with another episode 56.
Yeah.
I can't believe where we're at.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful Tuesday morning in Houston, Texas. Rex, how are you doing today?
Man, I'm feeling blessed. Had a wonderful conversation with the guys this morning.
Good.
About some topics that kind of what we're about to get into today. But I'm feeling good. My drive over is good. Had the opportunity to talk to my lady and
Yeah.
feeling good about yourself, brother.
I'm feeling amazing, man. God is continuing to work on me, right? He's giving me trials and tribulations that I'm going through, and in the midst of them, I'm just continuing to see like the areas that I'm weak in my faith and how I can be stronger, and also the areas that like I'm doing pretty doggone good and I need to just remain consistent in. And so that always feels good. Just spending time with my lady, just growing, making some big boy decisions and some big boy moves. So I'm very excited for the future.
That's good. Oh, also, before we forget, if you're watching this video,
Yep.
do us a favor, like it, leave a comment, leave a review. And if you're listening to it on Spotify, on Apple Music, or even on a clip, go over to our YouTube channel and watch a few episodes there to help us hit monetization. We would
Please.
greatly appreciate you.
We would super appreciate it. You guys did a great job on the last one of doing that. So we appreciate you so much. Continue with that, guys, because we're getting closer and closer. I truly believe that in the next couple of weeks we can be there. If everybody who's listening on their podcast platforms just takes a couple weeks on these episodes, switch over to your YouTube, go watch, go like, share it, comment, just whatever you're going to do to get that watch time up for us. And like we said, go through and watch a couple of them. Go watch 2 or 3. Put it on at night while you're sleeping and turn the volume all the way down. We don't care how you do it. We just appreciate y'all's support. And thank you so much for being a great community that is helping us grow so that we can bring more content to you.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, today's topic, man, is about to be an amazing one. Like, we're about to start a new series, guys. It's been a minute since we've done a series, and I think that it's time that we can go real deep into some different discussions.
Yeah.
So this series, guys, is going to be called Silence is Violence.
Yeah.
Right? And Rex came up with this, and he let the spirit move through him to really inspire the topics for this series. And so I want Rex to kind of introduce this topic, what it's about, and what this series is going to mean.
Absolutely. So let me tell you what sparked it.
Yeah.
So as you know, I do the morning mastery every morning, and I meet with men. Been going on 46 weeks straight, right? But one thing I realized is every single time a man never shared his heart, his blind spots, or what he was struggling with, he fell deeper into that thing. Right? Whether that was with his porn, whether that was with his mental health, whether that's in his relationship, whether that was with his finances, every single time he did not share it,
Yeah.
it harmed him.
Yeah.
Right? It showed up in his relationship. It showed up in his day-to-day actions. It showed up in his relationship with his kids. And it also showed up on just his energy in general.
Yeah.
So when I say silence is violence, this is what happens when a man doesn't speak up.
That's good, bro. That's good. Anytime that he let it, be silent, that he didn't bring it to the light, it got worse.
Got worse.
I have lived that personally so
100%.
many times, bro. Like with the very examples that you were talking about, with my own battles with pornography and masturbation, my own battles with faith, my own battles with faithfulness,
Yeah.
my own battles with discipline in every area. Like, when I kept it to myself and I tried to fight that battle on my own and I kept it all within, the devil was able to have way more power over me.
100%.
He was able to take advantage of those areas of darkness that I wanted to hide. But once they were exposed, once they were brought to the light, once I actually spoke on them, it gave a whole routine and journey that allowed me to take control and power over them.
Yeah.
So I think this is going to be an amazing episode, because when I tell you, every single man has secrets, every single man has spots in their life that they're trying to avoid, that they're trying to keep quiet, that they'd rather not speak on, but you need to speak on it, brother, because it's going to be the difference between you actually being able to grow and conquer it, or it taking over you.
100%.
So, man, without further ado,
Hey,
let's talk like men. All right,
Sir.
cool. So I'm going to go first with my point number 1. And today's episode, to be specific, it's going to be silence is violence. What happens when a man goes silent in his relationship?
Yeah.
We're going to address this on a lot of different paths over the next 4, 5, 6 episodes and weeks. But today we're going to talk from a relationship perspective. So men and women that are tuned in, this is going to be important because there's going to be some times where you're going to feel like shutting down.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about why you want to shut down, what happens when you shut down, and also the key signs of a man that's being silent in his relationship and the impact of that. So I'm going to go forward with my first point. The first reason why a man shuts down is he's feeling exhausted and he's frustrated with the fact that he's having to continue to repeat himself or face the same situations with you over and over and over again.
Talk about it.
Right? So what this looks like is when you've had a conversation about tone and delivery with your woman, not once, not twice, but 20, 30, 40, 50 times. And you continue to feel an energy and a tone that comes off that is not in alignment with what you guys have talked about and agreed that you're going to do differently. At a certain point, that man gets to a space to where he says, I don't think you value me, right? What it looks like is we're having a problem that keeps occurring in our relationship or in your life, and you've asked me for help on it. I've given you the solutions. You don't apply them. And we're continuing to face the same issue over and over again. I've already given you the advice that you asked for and the solution that could potentially help you, but you don't want to take it. Oh, you don't value my opinion,
Yeah.
right? I don't feel like you trust my decision making. I don't feel like you actually desire to submit to me.
Yep.
I feel like I'm fighting a losing battle. Is this worth it? Is it worth all this time and effort and energy that I'm putting into this to continue to have these conversations with you, yet end up in the same place over and over and over again? And naturally, at a certain point, when you start feeling all this rejection, when you start feeling deprived, and when you start feeling undervalued, you say, well, maybe I should just remove myself from this completely and stop talking. Maybe I should just stop giving my words. Maybe I should just stop giving my advice. Maybe I should stop giving my leadership. Maybe I should just go silent altogether. And then the problems really start.
Yeah.
But that's one of the main reasons why men go silent, is because you're not listening. I don't feel heard. I don't feel valued. I don't feel like you want to be led by me. I'm here to talk, but not here to be heard.
Yeah. It's almost like there's no point in me continuing the conversation because there's nothing gonna come from it.
Yeah.
You're gonna take what you want to hear,
Yep.
bits and pieces, and that's what you're gonna respond to versus what I'm really saying to you.
That's good, bro.
So how does a man work through that?
You have to, this is about a walk with Christ. I swear to you. Ultimately, it is about a walk with Christ. And we're going to get into an episode where it talks about when you get silent with God. But I was watching a video even this morning, and the man was talking about how when you're in a relationship and you're a man and you're leading and you want to lead like Christ loved the church, right? That's the command that's given, is husbands are to love their wives like Christ loved the church. How did Christ love the church? Who were the very people in the church that Christ had to love, and how did he do it? Well, over and over again, you were dealing with sinners, right? That continue to sin, right? That say they knew him, say they loved him, say that they identified with him, but would do the same thing over and over again. Just like how your woman might do the same thing that you can't stand over and over and over again. She might bump her head the same way over and over and over again. But he was patient. He didn't withhold his love. He knew when to speak. He knew when to let them bump their heads. He knew when to let them learn the way they need to learn. He knew when to have grace and patience and peace, and to truly love them in spite of the things that were frustrating, in spite of the things that were not fair, right? You have to realize that how you treat God on a daily basis, same way she treats you.
Yeah.
On a day-to-day basis, you doing things that you know you shouldn't do. And then you come to God for forgiveness and say, please, Lord, like, I know we talked about it before, but you know, if you could just extend your grace one more time, that's what you got to do, man.
Yeah.
And see, the thing is, I'm not saying, I know that, you know, we're talking about husbands and wives. I'm not married yet, right? But I'm headed towards marriage. So for the men out there who aren't married yet and say, well, I'm not your husband, so why do I need to love you like Christ loved the church? This is what I'm going to say to you. it would be unwise and foolish for a man to believe that he can get to the altar and say, I do, and then become something he has never been before.
Yeah.
And so you say, well, we're not married, so I don't have to love you like Christ loved the church. I don't have to show provision or protection. I don't have to do any of these things that a husband is called to do. And I say to you, how do you expect to be something that you have never practiced?
Yeah.
The time for you to get deeper in your grace, the time for you to extend forgiveness, the time for you to learn how to have some long suffering and some kindness in the face of some adversity is now.
Yeah.
In your dating phase, in your engagement phase. This is when you deal with it, because it's not going to just stop when you cross the altar. If anything, the enemy is going to attack you more.
Yeah.
And so whatever areas are pain points, they're going to get exacerbated when you guys are actually married. So you need to be addressing things now. You need to be voicing things now. You need to stay talking in the relationship now. You cannot go silent. Because if you go silent before you even say, I do, my Lord, I don't know what that marriage is going to even look like.
It ain't gonna be one.
Yeah.
It ain't gonna be one.
That's what I got on that. That's how you got to work through that.
That's powerful. So if you find yourself going silent in a relationship because you feel like you're not being heard, then the best thing to do is operate in the fruits of the spirit and
Yes.
be more Christ-like.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you might have some other advice from a
Yeah.
therapeutic perspective on how a man can work through that. And if you do, I'd love to hear it. But yeah, God is the example.
Okay, that's good. All
What's
right,
your
so I'm gonna
point?
go into my number one. When a man goes silent in a relationship, there's a chance that he no longer feels safe to share or express himself to you out of fear of being judged, criticized, or unheard. Right? Last night I was going through my old journal, so I was looking for something very specific. And I came across a journal entry from 2021, right? And I expressed, I was like, I just shared a message with my partner about how I've really been feeling emotionally, and she didn't know what to do with it, right? She didn't take it serious, didn't know what to do with it, and based off her reaction to me, I decided that it was no longer safe for me to ever do this again, right? So in my mind, I rationalized suffering in silence because anytime I gave words or language to my suffering, there was no solution. The same way I'm a fixer, there was nothing that would be fixed. So I'm learning that, and I've learned that when a man goes silent, typically it's because you're no longer a safe space. You no longer create an environment for him of peace. You no longer sit to listen. You no longer sit to understand. You no longer try to use the discernment to try to pour back into him. Instead, you criticize, you judge, you accuse, right? It must be somebody else.
Yeah.
And all of that turns you away and makes you more separated.
Oh, that's good.
So that's going to be as simple as that. When a man goes silent, it's because he no longer feels safe, heard, seen, because he fears of being judged, criticized, or invalidated.
Man, that's good. What I'm hearing you say is it gets to a point to where when he's thinking about opening his mouth, and in your situation, when you thought about after that fact of expressing something, all you remember is the consequence that you were met with the last time you opened up.
The last time I opened up, absolutely. And think about it like this. This goes all the way back to childhood, right? First of all, you ain't, as a man, you're not supposed to be expressing yourself. As a man, you're not supposed to be out here crying. You're not supposed to be feeling all that. And if you are feeling that, man, get out of your feelings, bro. So you learn from a very early age, okay, I'm not supposed to do this.
Yeah.
But then you carry around the weight of being a man. In our situation, being a black man, right? In my situation, being the first one to go get my master's, being the first one to move away from the crib, being the first one to go get engaged, be the first one to go from one lifestyle and making a hard turn, complete 180 to a different lifestyle. You carry the weight of that, and then you give me the weight of my calling and my purpose, right? The fact that I'm supposed to be the one that's a chain breaker. I'm supposed to be the one that changes the game. I'm supposed to be the one that does something different to unlock something more for my family and also for the people that God has assigned me to. So you take the weight from all of those things, and then you add on the weight of my failures,
Yeah.
right? And then God has given me a vision of what he wants me to become and who he has me becoming. But until I get there, there's a lot of things I'm having to face. So you take the weight of all of that and you put it into one person. I have good days, I have bad days.
Mm-hmm.
But oftentimes, I just want to be heard. Oftentimes, I just want to feel special. Oftentimes, I just want to be validated. Oftentimes, I just need reassurance.
Mm.
But if I can't open up my mouth and offer you reassurance,
Yeah.
if I can't open up my mouth and tell you where my heart is or tell you what I'm really feeling, then
Yeah.
I have to consistently carry that weight by myself.
That's good, bro. I'm sitting here thinking about what you're saying, bro. And as I hear it, it's like, first off, it reminds me of the weight series that we did and why it was so important when we did it. Because this is some real stuff that actually happens, bro. We are in a space as men, and then as black men, then as men that are trying to change the game, then as men who have traumas and fears and failures and all these different things. We are in a space where, my God, the weight is unbearable,
Yep.
right? You can't bear it on your own.
Not supposed to.
And if you don't find, and if when your partner who's supposed to be there to help you carry this weight, carry this load, right? If they are now one of the, they add on to the weight because they don't know how to receive it, or they reject it, or they get defensive, or it triggers things in them. Now it's like, dang, the one space where I thought I could open up is not a safe space
It's not.
at all. And guess what? Now I got to bear the weight of trying to guard your feelings and protect you against your inability to be emotionally sound and aware, of being empathetic, because you don't have that ability. Now I got to carry that weight too.
Yeah.
Where does a man have that he can turn to in life to get it?
Yeah.
And that's a battle that I think so many men are fighting, and why they get so quiet is like, I don't have a space. I don't know where I can go, where I can be heard. Then you throw in the stereotypes and the all the misconceptions about therapy that make men feel like, I can't go to therapy.
Yeah.
I'm not finna just talk to some random person about my problems. What's that gonna do for me? I see that message so often on our shows, on so many things. It's just like, bro, you have no idea how you're just self-harming yourself right now. Like, that mindset is exactly why you need it.
Yeah.
Clearly you have some trauma there. Clearly you have never had a space where you could talk, because you're literally saying that talking to somebody about your problems don't do nothing.
Yeah.
That is clear sign that you actually have trauma.
Yeah.
You've never been heard.
Never been heard.
And so that's why you silent, bro. And it's just, that's an amazing point, bro. When you never had a safe space to speak and feel heard, the only option that seems logical is silence.
Exactly. In this moment, I need to give a shout out to my wife, right?
Man, let's talk about it.
Because I carried the trauma from my past relationships, a little bit of that into this new relationship, meaning I would hold things in that were important to share because I didn't want to be criticized. I didn't want my partner to feel offended or get all defensive.
Yeah.
But there's a quote that says, whatever your words don't express, your body will. She could tell my energy was off just by my body language. So she was like, everything okay? In that moment, my default setting is to lie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah.
But my energy said something completely different. And I was like, you know what? No, it ain't actually. Been some on my mind. I feel resentment being built towards you for X, Y, and Z. And when I shared it, I broke it down, and I was conscious of the fact that, Rex, only deliver one major thing at a time.
Yeah.
Don't do 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
Nah, just stick with one.
Yeah.
And then if you got the opportunity to talk about it and discuss it, then go to 2.
Yeah.
So I delivered 1, and she says, wow, thank you for sharing that. I had no idea that I wasn't doing this and that you needed this. And I'm glad that you brought it up, because now it lets me know where I can show it better. Out of my 29 years of life, I've never received that response before.
My God.
So, yes, it was uncomfortable for me to share it, because I was anticipating a negative reaction. But she invited me to share. She appreciated me and thanked me for sharing. And then she said, this is what I plan to do next because of it.
Yeah.
And then I saw the actions change.
Yeah.
So when a man goes silent, it's for whatever reasons. But at the end of the day, it's not her responsibility to fix my trauma.
No.
It's my responsibility to address it and to lean into it and say, this is why I'm hurt. This is why I'm bleeding. But in order for me to stop bleeding, I got to do my own personal work. But then I have to lean in and have more conversations with you to show you where my heart is. So we don't end up having a silent relationship to where I veer off and go do things I'm not supposed to
Yeah.
because I haven't been telling you what's broke.
That's good, bro. That, really two things. I want to talk one about the feeling of hearing that. Thank you for sharing it. So don't let me forget that.
Yeah, absolutely.
But the other thing is, oftentimes as men, we self-sabotage ourselves, and even in our own conversations with our guys, because we'll sit there and we'll say, well, I can't come to her about this, and I can't talk to my woman about that, because all she gonna do is get in her feelings about this. All she gonna do is take it personal. All she gonna do is this and that, and she ain't gonna hear it, and she gonna only understand the feelings. But then it's like, do you know how to communicate it?
Yeah.
I think one of another reasons, and this isn't even written down, but it came to my head. Another reason why men go silent is because we know internally we don't know how to communicate
We
it.
don't have the language.
I don't have the language. I don't have the capability. I don't have the emotional vocabulary to voice what I'm actually feeling.
Yeah.
Like what we said in our episode about why men need therapy. When you don't go to therapy, right? But this is in anything. When you don't know how to do it, what you do is you act how you feel. You don't express how you feel. And that's what happens when you don't have emotional vocabulary. You act how you feel. And so some of those actions turn into anger, resentment, turn into to disdain towards your partner. You're shutting down, right? Like it's just a lot of things that can come from it. And I think a lot of times that's another reason we feel insecure about our ability to actually voice effectively
Yep.
what we feel. Because a lot of times we haven't even sat with it.
Yeah.
We haven't written it down in a journal and really taken time to process what we're thinking, and does this align, and where does this come from? Because you're going to need all of that to help you convey that to your partner.
Yeah.
But we get in our own way because we know we don't have that ability. And then secondly, like you said, you talked about that response of thank you for sharing it.
Yeah.
I know it's very cliche, for people every single time you get done saying something, well, thank you for sharing it, but it means something. There's a reason why it's valuable. Because the first thing that a person, or the worst thing that a person wants to feel when they open up to you, especially a man when he's trying to tell you something, is immediate response about all the things you don't like, immediately defensiveness about, the things that triggered you, and never an appreciation for the fact of the courage that he just had to display
Yeah.
to really communicate something that was very difficult for him to communicate. We women, we are not taught this. And so when a man is opening up to you about his feelings, that took a lot.
Yeah.
His natural trauma response is for him to not communicate it, or to communicate it in a way that is detrimental. The fact that he sat there and he calmly said, this is what needs to take place. I'm going to address these things one at a time. And I really need to come to you about something that I've been feeling. And I got to be honest with you about it. That took a lot of courage out of Rex to do that. And for his wife to be able to sit there and the first thing out of her mouth before she responds to anything else, say, thank you for sharing that. That raises the little boy in him to say, this is safe.
100%.
This is a place I can come back to. I can do this again, right? Even when it's difficult, don't fall back into your thought processes of shutting down, of keeping it to yourself. Remember that she appreciates this. She is somebody that you can open up to. So that was good. And shout out to her.
Absolutely. Shout out to you.
Man.
What you got for your next point, brother?
All right, my point number 2. When the man goes silent in the relationship, God is no longer in the forefront. Right?
Talk about it.
And the reason why is because God is calling men to be bold and courageous and to not operate out of fear and trauma, right? And we're supposed to do it in the face of adversity.
Yep.
And I think about Jeremiah in the Bible. He was very young when God gave him his assignment, right? And in Jeremiah chapter 1, verses 6 through 10, I'm going to read them. Jeremiah says, I do not know how to speak. I am too young. But the Lord said to me, do not say, I am too young. You must go to everyone I send you to and say whatever I command you. Do not be afraid of them, for I am with you and will rescue you, declares the Lord. Then the Lord reached out his hand and touched my lips. And he said to me, I have put my words in your mouth. See, today that I appoint you over nations and kingdoms to uproot and tear down, to destroy and overthrow, to build and to plant. Jeremiah had his own trauma and fear in that moment.
Yeah.
He had his doubts about opening his mouth and saying things that the Lord is telling him to go do and leading in a way, because he had all these reasons as to why I'm not prepared for this. I'm not the right one for the job. This is too much for me. And God told him, don't operate out of that fear and that doubt. Don't operate out of all the reasons that you can't do it. I said you can.
Yeah.
And I said you will. If you trust me, I got you.
100%.
Don't fear the adversity. Don't fear the rejection. But you see, when a man goes silent, right? What's happening is that fear, that rejection, all those things are taking his identity over.
Yeah.
And not his identity in Christ.
Yeah.
He is operating out of that, right? That relationship is no longer keeping God in the forefront, because God said, even if you don't know what to say, I'm going to give you the words.
100%.
You're not going on your own power and authority. You're going under my power and authority.
Yep.
And so no matter who comes in front of you, no matter how many times she shuts you down, no matter how many adversity you face, how she responds sometimes, I didn't tell you to get silent. I didn't put you in this relationship, in this marriage, for you to be quiet and passive. I put you here to lead. I put you here to fulfill a purpose and an assignment.
Yeah.
And when you stop speaking, you forsake your assignment,
Yeah.
right? And so I say all this to say, if you have gone silent as a man in your relationship, you are no longer carrying a spirit of boldness and faith in God. You have fear and doubt leading you. And I also say this towards the women. God is not leading you either. If you are the type of woman in the relationship that is quarrelsome, that has an inability to prop up this man in his leadership, when you lack respect for this man, God is not leading you either. God is not leading that relationship if that man has gone silent. Because somewhere along the line, order has gotten messed up.
Yep.
Trauma has taken root. The devil has a stronghold in that relationship, and he's confusing everything and what needs to be going on in the proper order. It's not happening anymore.
No.
And what then ends up happening is you're no longer good examples for your children. And your sons will let women walk over them.
Yeah.
And your daughters will believe that they're supposed to dominate a man into submission.
Yeah.
The identity of not only yourself, but your wife and your children is dependent on your ability to be bold and courageous and keep speaking up no matter what. That is your assignment.
And when you don't, she does.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're out of order.
Mm-hmm. And we see that everywhere today, bro.
We see it all over the place. And I see it all the time in my office. So everything you said just makes so much sense because God is giving you the voice. He's made you the minister of your home.
Mm-hmm.
The one that's supposed to be the praying, the one that's supposed to be educating, the one that's supposed to be pouring, the one that's supposed to be covering. But when you're not covering,
Yep.
who is?
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
It goes back once again to the operating in the fruits of the Spirit. When you're not covering and God is not at the forefront, who am I now?
Yeah.
I'm by myself.
Yep.
I'm abandoned. I can't do it by myself. Never was meant to do it by myself. I don't have the power to do it by myself. I don't have the might to do it by myself. So
And when you see relationships that don't have God in them, man, there's a clear distinction.
100%.
There's a clear distinction. There's no desire for resolution. There's no attempts to grow. There's just a continuous me spirit.
Yep.
A continuous selfish spirit. A continuous how am I serving myself? Me and my lady were having a tough time yesterday. We were talking through some things. It's interesting because we had very similar conversation to what you had with your wife. And we were just talking about different things, and I was telling her, like, there are certain ways that I'm feeling resentful right now, right? And as I'm speaking through the different things, I'm trying to get to, like, what's the root of why I think this is happening. But she said something really powerful. She's like, I told myself that I needed to start being more selfish, right? That in this season, with all the things that I got going on in life, I'm in school, I can't save everybody. And I told her, I said, I understand why you've had to put yourself first, and that's an important thing. But you never ask yourself if I'm the type of person that takes and doesn't give. You didn't think about the fact, and I literally asked her this question. I said, have I ever in our relationship, and tell me if I'm wrong, have I ever put you in a position where you had to sacrifice what was good for you in order to do something for me? And she's like, no. You know, there's never been a circumstance, right? And I told her, I said, so the trauma response that you built to have to be selfish, it bled into our relationship. And now I'm feeling neglected. I'm not feeling the love. I'm not feeling recognized. I'm not feeling like my place here is really being respected.
Yeah.
And I understand we all going through some things, but babe, if we gonna do this,
You gotta do it.
we gotta do it. And no matter what life throws at you, it's gonna be hard times. Like, this ain't the end of it. It's gonna be some more that's coming. And in this, we cannot develop a me spirit. There has to be a us spirit. Because the thing is, I understand that you realize all the weight that you're carrying. But guess what? I'm signing up and I'm happy and I'm ready and willing. I'm more than prepared to help you bear it.
Yep.
I want to take the load off of your shoulders. But that also took me being able to speak on it.
100%.
Because a lot of parts of me, and there was plenty of moments where I'm like, man, I ain't even finna say nothing because I'm not trying to have an argument. I'm not even finna say nothing because what's the point? Today being a good day, I ain't even finna trouble myself with it. But I had to speak up. Because if I let it linger, we were just gonna keep having distortion and confusion about where we needed to be. And she understood and she respected that and she responded in a way that truly just reinforced the fact that, like, yes, this is the woman I want to marry.
Yeah.
So
That's powerful.
you spoke some power there, bro.
Man, you just spoke some power. That's amazing. I appreciate you for sharing that, man.
For sure.
And being able to walk through that with your partner, because those are the conversations that are transformational.
Yes.
Those are the conversations where you both are able to see each other's hearts.
Mm-hmm.
And then you find out what kind of dog you got in you,
bro.
and you find out what she got in her.
What she got in her.
Does she have some fight?
Yep.
Right? Is it a capacity issue or is it an ability issue?
Yep.
Right? If it's the capacity issue, then okay, what can we do to increase that capacity?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I could take some off her plate.
Mm-hmm.
If it's an ability issue, but okay, we need more time to mature.
Mm-hmm.
So who do I need to be connected to in order to gain more ability?
Can I ask a random question?
Yeah.
Kind of off topic. Because I just had this thought. We both date women that are younger than us.
Yep.
Not significantly younger than us, but a few years. How much of the things do you think that we face sometimes with our women, with our ladies, are just the results of time in life and in adulting and just in time that they have to spend in growing? Because, of course, we have the same thing.
Yeah.
We have to do too. But how many things do you think really come from that too? That aren't necessarily just trauma, aren't necessarily defensive mechanisms and all that, but just a lack of experience that just has to happen for a person to learn certain things.
Oh, the majority?
Yeah.
Yeah, the majority. And this is kind of where I'm at with that.
Yeah. Help me out.
I've had to give her to God,
Yeah.
right? I asked my guys a question the other day, and I said, what would it look like for you to fully surrender your partner back to God? You to take your hands off trying to control her. You to take your hands off trying to help her move forward in certain things. You to take your hands off trying to make her mature at a faster rate. You to take your hands off trying to determine different outcomes or prevent her from doing this and the third. What would it look like for you to surrender your relationship and surrender your partner to God? Because at the end of the day, it's still his daughter.
Yeah.
Right? And
You'll never have more claim over her than God does.
you never have. So when it came time for me to answer that question, because as you know, I'm going to always answer the questions that I give, I said it would take away some anxiety. It would take away a lot of pressure, and it would take away my need to control outcomes. Simply because it's not my it's my responsibility to cover, it's my responsibility to provide, it's my responsibility to show up for her and create space for her. But God got to do it. God got to change her heart.
Yeah.
God got to put her around the right people. So my prayer now is for God to put her in environments around spaces and places where people can pour into her. People can see her blind spots. People can hear her words and say, you know what, maybe change your perspective or give her more insights. And it's just like, I'm going to continue learning. I'm going to continue being as healthy as I can be.
Yeah.
I'm going to continue being my communities and sharing my heart with my guys and making sure I'm going to get the help I need so I can be the healthiest partner for her. But I have to allow God to do his work in her.
So what does that actively look like when you're in scenarios and situations where there's a problem that you see that she's dealing with or that she's displaying and you need to address it, right? But you realize it's a time thing, it's a maturity thing, it's a God interference has to happen type of thing. Do you continue the conversation there? Do you say, okay, we just gonna pray on it and let it go? Like, how do you navigate that? Give us the good and the bad.
Absolutely. So 2 ways. One, you got to deal with the frustration that you feel. Right. I, although you may know it's a capacity or it's ability thing, you got to. I'm still frustrated.
Yeah.
I'm still triggered. I'm still irritated because I feel like you should know this already. Right. So, and then allow grace. But
And is
also,
that an internal thing that you're saying to yourself?
it's both.
Or are you saying it to, okay, it's both.
It's good to acknowledge it because once again, it's not good for a man to go silent.
Absolutely.
So it's okay for me to tell you,
Let
hey,
her know.
I'm pissed off right now.
Yeah.
What you just said really triggered me. But it's also giving him grace because I know where you are. The second thing, Brother Jason Wilson added in his book, The Man, the Moment Demands. We just finished reading that book last month.
What a book.
He said, once I started viewing my wife from the lens of her being a little girl, I was able to see her different. Right? There was things that she needed that she probably didn't get. There was things she needed to be taught that she probably wasn't taught. There was experiences that she needs to have that she probably hasn't had yet. So once I view her from the lens of a little girl, then I can really give her more grace because she's just operating from that space.
Yeah.
She still has time to develop. And ultimately, when it comes to marriage and covenant is meant for us to grow together.
Absolutely.
In different seasons. If she reaches full maturity in our single season or in our dating season, what can I expect
Absolutely.
in a marriage?
Yeah.
When two becomes one,
Yeah.
it's gonna be clash anyways.
Yep.
So once again, it's me expressing myself and acknowledging what I really feel. It's extending grace. It's also having a conversation. And you know me, I'm gonna ask hella questions in the first place. So ask those questions just to gain clarity. And once I see where she is remembering, Rex, you gotta let this go. Right? Does she have the willingness to try?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, she got the willingness to try. Does she have the willingness to be receptive and hear me when I say how I'm feeling? Yes. Okay. And does she have community support that she can turn to that can put her in the right direction? Yes. Okay, cool. Give her to God.
And I think at that point you gotta say, have some patience then, brother.
You got to, bro, would you send it to me? I want you to matter of fact, I'll pull it up here.
Okay, bet.
Fruits of the Spirit.
Yeah. Yep.
You just sent it to me. It said love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Gotta have the self-control to be able to tell yourself no and to be able to know when to give and when to take. You gotta be gentle with her and realize that she ain't no man.
Yeah.
Right? She is a gift from God,
Yeah.
right? Something precious, something valuable. You got to be faithful enough to be in those moments in relationships.
Yeah.
To not go cheat.
Absolutely.
In the midst of controversy.
Because you feel deprived.
Right. Exactly. Right. The goodness, kindness, the patience. And then one of the biggest things is patience. The same way you haven't probably fully developed in certain areas and she's patient with you.
Yeah.
The same way she waiting on you to get that big boy salary.
Yeah. That's real.
So she can do other things. Or the same way she's waiting on you to show her that you can become a good father by showing all these different things. It's the same patience she's gonna need from you.
That's good, brother.
So yeah, that's my answer, big dog.
Boy, that was good, man.
What you
That
got?
was education for me.
Absolutely.
We sharpen each other around here.
What you got for point number 3, bro?
All right, my point number 3. When a man goes silent in a relationship, he goes to find his voice somewhere else. And see, this is what we're talking about when you're not living by those fruits of the spirit, because this is what starts to happen. That man ain't talking to you no more. But guess where he's very vocal at? He's very vocal on that video game. He in Warzone and 2K in that chat, and he talked more than you've heard him talk in a month. He can
100%.
talk more than that in an hour on that video game. Um, Nowhere else he talks a lot at them sporting events,
Yep.
going to watch his favorite team or going to watch the high school or college games for the school he supports. Yeah, yeah. When the game is on Sundays, oh, he's talking a whole lot
Yep.
during that, but has no words when it's time for discussions between the two of you.
Make it make sense.
Um, at the bar or the club, he's talking a whole lot.
Yapping.
He can have a conversation with somebody about the most minuscule thing and they can talk for hours on it. But on the things that are deep in your relationship, y'all are so surface level and shallow. And the last place he'll go talk a lot is in another woman's arms.
Mm.
He'll vent to her about everything he feels with you, and she'll listen.
Yep.
He'll open up to her about traumas that he faced, and she'll be empathetic. It ain't nothing but the devil. Nothing but the devil. But a man will find a place to be vocal. I guarantee you that.
Yep.
He ain't quiet everywhere. If he quiet in the house, there is a place in his life where he finds a place to release
Yep.
what he's feeling. And sometimes that also happens in the form of addictions.
Yep.
Because if he doesn't release it vocally, he will find a way to emotionally suppress whatever he's feeling so he can cope with the fact that he has no voice.
Yep.
He has no identity. So that's the porn use, that's the alcoholism, that's the drugs, that's the sex, that's all those different things that then starts to happen, the gambling. Because he needs to feel something. And he ain't been able to feel nothing because he quiet in his own home. I'm not saying that that's all on you. I'm not saying it's all on him. All I'm saying is when he does go quiet, guarantee he talking somewhere.
Yep. You find yourself in that situation. You find yourself turning to other things, coping devices, other people, games, your homeboys. How do you pull yourself back in, or do you leave?
This is great. First off, this is gonna come down to a honesty and a character thing for that man. Because if he can't be honest with himself in the first place, he'll never even realize he the problem or that he has a problem that he needs to fix.
Yeah.
But let's just say you're a man with enough honesty and integrity to tell yourself the truth and say, bro, I don't have no voice no more. Like you can recognize that. I don't have no voice in this house. I don't have no voice in my woman. The question that I always say a man needs to ask himself, and this is not about marriage, because once you make that covenant, I ain't trying to hear it.
100%. You
I
gotta
ain't trying to
fight.
hear it. You got to fight. There ain't no leaving. We in this. Um, but in circumstances of let's say dating, engagement, all that, before you say I do and make that covenant, ask yourself, is this person worth the fight?
Mm.
I think that's the simplest way to answer this for yourself. Is this person worth
Worth the fight.
the fight? And if your answer is no, and you'll know, because if you have to contemplate it, they ain't.
Yep.
Because when a man knows, he knows.
100%.
You're committed to, yes, she's worth it. She may frustrate the mess out of me. She may have done some things that have hurt me and harmed me, but I love this woman and I want to be with this woman. And so I'm willing to do the things that need to be done for us to reconcile or whatever needs to be done, whatever changes I need to make, whatever conversations need to be had, however I need to raise my voice and find my identity for us to be able to move forward and get this right so that I'm not seeking my voice in other places. That's the main question a man got to ask himself. And if your answer is not confident in that, you really got two options. You seek therapy, couples therapy, because maybe y'all just don't have the ability by yourselves to be able to have those conversations. Y'all don't have it, and y'all need a professional to come in. And I highly encourage it. Or two, it's time to go.
Yeah.
It's time to go. But if you love that woman, right, and your answer is certain, I do love that woman, and she is worth me fighting for, then brother, you have got to have some grit in you, bro. You can't be the type of man that runs every single time it gets tough. Every single time the trauma is triggering, every single time the response is not what you want to hear. You can't shut down. You can't leave the house to go get a drink. You can't cut your woman off, but then hop on the phone with your side piece right? You can't wait until she leaves to go pick up the pornography. You can't call your boys so you can escape. No, you gotta sit in that and you gotta fight. You Well, I was talking to my dad about some stuff, just about marriage and relationships. One of the things he said that he sees so much in his life because he works around a bunch of young men. It's like the thing that throws him off a lot about young men in this generation and that really ticks him off is when he sees a man that can't make a decision.
Mm.
He's like, that's the most unattractive thing ever. He's like, you come in here to this store and you say that you want my help to help you find X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
I give you X, Y, and Z. But then you sitting there, you thinking about, well, what my wife gonna say? Let me call the missus up. Let me this, let me that. And it's like, hold on. You came here because you needed a suit, right? You got a job interview. I'm the expert on this. I'm giving you what you need. But you can't make this simple decision because you're worried about what your wife gonna say about the $300 you're about to spend.
Yeah.
But did she call you when she spent that $400, $500 over at Sephora the other day?
Yeah.
No, like she made a decision. She got the ability to make a decision. You have the ability to make a decision. But he says so many men, they're in a space to where they can't tell you what they want to eat tonight. They can't tell you when they're going to take you out on the date. They can't tell you whether y'all are going to church or not. They can't say whether you're going to be Christ-led or led by the world. They can't make their mind up on whether the sky is blue or green on any given day. They don't know what they want. And if you're going to fight for something, you got to make a decision and you have to stick with it.
Yeah.
I said, I'm in this.
Yeah.
I told my lady just yesterday when we were having the conversation, I said, baby, I ain't going nowhere. Like, no matter how hard this conversation is and how many times do we have to have it. I remember I said the day before when she had did something that really just hurt me, I'm like, you know, the funny thing is I don't know why I'm even mad right now. Because to be real with you, tomorrow I'm going to forgive you. When I wake up in the morning, I ain't going to even be mad at you no more. I may feel a type of way, but I can't stay mad at you because I made a decision and I'm committed to that decision 100% in my heart that I love this woman and I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure that we make this thing work.
Yeah.
And yes, it's going to suck. Yes, it's going to hurt. But brother, I'm telling you, if you're contemplating staying and leaving it and you know you want to stay, then you got to fight and you got to make a decision.
That's good. Gotta have that dog in you, man.
Gotta have that dog, bro.
Man, that's good. Okay. A last point. Really two things. Before I get into the last point, I kind of want to piggyback off your point. When a man goes silent, somebody has his attention. Right? So you named a lot of things that could have his attention, like things,
Yeah.
games, his homeboys. I want to speak from the perspective of another woman.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? I remember there's a time in my past when I was in college. Other people had my attention.
Yeah.
Right? Because I was so emotionally checked out of my relationship due to the conflict, due to resentment, due to just not seeing eye to eye, but also me being a selfish person.
Yeah.
And not leaving when I felt those things.
Yeah.
I allowed the voices outside my relationship to get a little bit louder. And I leaned into them. So I lived a double life. I was okay with conflict here because I found peace here. Right? So again, selfish of me.
Yeah.
Rex, why don't you just leave? I wanted to, but I couldn't.
I couldn't.
Right?
Why couldn't?
It's selfishness.
Yeah.
My ideology was, it's so funny, exposed. My ideology was, I couldn't allow anybody else to have access to you while I was on the same campus. Right? So I'd much rather stay and do everything I want to do
Yeah.
versus leaving and watching you find it somewhere else.
Yeah.
Right? So once again, very, very, very selfish of me. And I've forgiven myself. And that's a lot of work I had to go through just to get to that point. But when you get to the point in your relationship where you become so silent, you become conflict avoidant, you don't even pour into your wife or to your woman. and you allow somebody else to do it, you stop showing up. There's a book called Love and Respect, and it says when a woman respects her husband, he responds in ways that are loving. And when a man loves his wife, she responds in ways that are respectful. So what happens when my heart is hardened?
Yeah.
What happens when the love that I have for my lady goes away? What happens when there's so much resentment to the point where I can't see them?
Yeah.
Then I can't show up and give you the love that you need.
Yeah.
So you're going to feel it.
Yeah.
You're going to feel that emotional distance. You're going to feel my communication change. You're going to feel my energy shift. You're going to feel the fact that I'd much rather play the game. I'd much rather be outside. I'd much rather be at the gym. I'd much rather spend more hours at work than be at home talking to you. I will sit outside of my car in the driveway for hours until you text me, hey, you coming in?
Yeah.
Right? You're asking me how my day is going, and I'm giving you the short responses. Simply because I am no longer there. I am checked out.
Yeah.
Right? So that's the negative side of things when men get silent. But the second thing I wanted to mention is key signs to look for. Right? He begins to emotionally withdraw from you, and that creates a lot of curiosity and confusion for you as a partner. He responds with, I'm fine, I'm good, or I'm straight when he's questioned about how he's doing.
Yeah.
He stopped doing things he knows that you love or enjoy. He stops planning date nights. He stops being intentional. He stops trying to wash dishes. He stops trying to pack your lunches. He stops trying to tuck you in the bed. He stops cuddling. He starts hiding that phone. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He starts hiding that phone. He's spending more time talking with his guys at work or on the game. He does everything but try to connect with you.
Yeah.
Right? And he becomes nonchalant about everything. His energy shifts. Right? That's how you know, one, when a man is becoming too silent. Also, when a man is emotionally checked out.
That's good, bro. That's so good. And everything you said, I've lived.
Yeah, 100%.
Everything you said, I live. And it's funny because your woman knows, bro. She'll call you out on like, you acting different. Like, what's up? We haven't done this particular thing in 2-3 months, or you don't hold me the same, or every single time that I get close to you, you turn your back to me, or why you always taking your phone with you when you go to the bathroom?
Yep.
Like, why you always got to turn it upside down when we next to each other? Like, what's going on?
Yep.
Women peep everything, and they can tell the energy shift when somebody else has your attention,
Yep.
right? When your mind is elsewhere, when you're not fully 100% committed to that relationship.
They know it.
When a man is 100% committed to that relationship, it's almost overbearing.
Yep.
The intentionality that man has. It's almost overwhelming the type of care that he will take and the ways that he will show up to serve
Yep.
for that woman because he's 100% in it. Like, he doesn't have a choice but to be on point. That is a part of his identity, is how am I showing up today? What's the best way that I can be there for my lady today? But the second another woman has your energy, now it doesn't go, what's the best way I can show up for my woman? It becomes, what's the best way for me to cover up
Yeah.
what's going on? What's the best way for me to maintain enough to where she don't get too suspicious,
Yeah.
and I can still keep doing what I got to
Do
do?
the bare minimum.
Right? How can I operate in a way that pleases her just enough that she'll get off my case and think everything's okay? But you can only hide it for so long,
Yeah.
right? It's interesting because for me, I'd be 21, 22 years old with erectile dysfunction.
Yep.
I'm sitting here and I can't get hard for you. Why? Because I feel ashamed. I know the messages I sent. I know the porn I just watched. You have no idea how filthy of a man I am. I don't even want to touch you. That's why I'm not holding you. It ain't because I want somebody more than you. It's because of the fact I don't feel worthy.
Yep.
And there's going to be a lot of men that know exactly what I'm saying because they in the midst of their unfaithfulness right now. And it ain't that you care about that other woman that you dealing with more than you care about her. It's about the fact that you care about her so much, quote unquote, that you feel like you don't want to even touch her, knowing where your heart has been, knowing where your mind has been, and sometimes knowing where you physically have been.
Yep.
And she picks up on that stuff, and she may not know the reason, but brother, you know the reason. And Rex, I want you to tell them that if they're in that space and they're feeling those things, what should they do?
Go get some help. If you're in that space and you're feeling all those different things, it's your responsibility to go get some help. Who can you go talk to? In this position, you want to go talk to a counselor, somebody um, who specializes in relationships, somebody who specializes in identity, somebody who specializes in family counseling, in addictions. Because if you don't address it, it's going to continue to be something that brings you shame. And one thing about shame, you would think that shame keeps you away from something, but without shedding light on it, shame is going to keep you into something.
In it.
So if you don't address it, you don't shed light on it, you don't talk about it, you don't find you a group of guys or people to connect with that can hold you accountable, you're going to stay in it. So if you need that help, as always, you can go to resolvecc.com and book a session with me. If you're in the state of Texas, I can offer you counseling. But if you're outside the state of Texas, I can offer you coaching, and we can give you a guideline or blueprint of how to navigate those spaces.
Love that, man. Man, you said something powerful. You said a lot of times we think shame will keep us away from something, but in reality, shame will keep you very close to it.
Yeah.
And that's so true. And the only time that like that is the opposite, shame does that with everything that's negative.
Yeah.
With the things that are positive, it does keep you away. So I'm gonna put it from this perspective. Shame will keep you away from God.
Yeah.
Right? It won't keep you close to God. It'll keep you away from God because you feel like I can't come to God about this.
Yep.
Right? But it will keep you close to that addiction. Prime example. How many of us say, I ain't gonna watch no more porn, I ain't gonna masturbate.
And do it anyways.
And then you end up doing it. And what do you feel after you're done?
Shame.
You feel ashamed. You feel that shame. You feel that disgust. You feel that resentment and that feeling towards yourself like, I shouldn't have done that.
Yep.
Why do I keep doing this? I didn't. You feel all that shame, but you end up staying closer to it and doing it again. Shame will not get you out of your addictions. It's not what it's gonna do. It's gonna keep you running back to it because what shame is its condemnation. It is a spirit that allows you to continue to feel bad about yourself, take no ownership over the actual problem, doesn't allow you to seek help, makes you feel like you cannot be helped, that nothing will ever change. And that just creates a cycle of, well, I'm gonna have to cope with all these things I'm feeling again. So guess what I'm about to go do? I'm about to get back on that website. I'm about to get back on that bottle. I'm about to get back on them drugs. I'm about to get back on that woman.
Yep.
It's going to take you right back to the thing you're trying to avoid because you're allowing shame to rule. When you remove shame, you will be able to go to God about the things that you face. You'll be able to go get help from a counselor or therapist. You will be able to go get in the men's group and be open about the addictions that you're facing. You will be open to your partner about the things that you've done. And what will happen from there is because you brought it to the light, it does not have the same stronghold over you anymore.
Yep.
There is awareness for it. There are now signs that you can pick up on. There is conversation that can be had that allows you to release some of the same energy that used to take you towards it. It will make a difference. How do we know this? Because we've done it. We have been through it, y'all. We have been through it. For those of y'all that are new around here, you're speaking to two men that used to be so deep in our lust. Faithfulness in a relationship was a lost cause.
Yep.
But now we are men of Christ that have been so submitted to where that's not even a conversation on being unfaithful to our woman. You're speaking to men that, for me personally, dealt with pornography and masturbation addictions since the age of 16, bro. 16. It was a part of so many parts of my identity that I had to redefine myself.
Yep.
Now I'm a man that's been away from that stuff for over a year. I would have never thought I could do this. We know it because we've done it. We've had a real journey, y'all. Let's Talk Like Men is not a place for you to come as a man or a woman and feel judged. It's not a place for you to come and get the newest tea for you to send about what's wrong with the women and what's wrong with the men. It's a place of transparency, a place of accountability and vulnerability, a place where you can come and see two young brothers that are figuring it out and have figured some stuff out.
Yep.
And to learn, to grow, to feel a part of something that allows you to become a better person. And for that, we thank God. For that, we thank you for viewing and supporting us and allowing us to grow as fast as we've grown. And we just want to say, if you need help, it's out there. But you can't remain silent.
Yep.
Because within that silence is that darkness, is that shame, is that frustration, that anger, that resentment, that pain, that childhood trauma. And that gives power to all the things that you hate that you do,
Yep.
all the things that you can't stand that you experience. Silence truly is violence because it will wreak chaos and destruction over your life. I'm Miles Harris, Miles the Millennial. You can find me if you're looking for a speaker to come into your school, your organization, your corporate office, to motivate your teams, empower your mindsets, and teach you how to lead and improve your performance. You can go to milesthemillennial.com. That's Miles with a Y. We can book a free consultation to discuss your needs and see how I can help. He's Rex Howard Jr. Let him know.
Yeah, it's your boy Rex Howard Jr., the relationship and sex therapist, personal development coach, podcaster, fisher of men. If you need a space to learn, to grow, and develop, you can just find me on social media at I am Rex Howard Jr. Fellas, if you are needing a space for accountability, for growth, for maturity, for spiritual development, personal development, emotional development, in August, I will be rolling out um, a next cohort of the Morning Mastery Meetup, the place that we meet every single day, Monday through Friday, from 6:55 a.m. to 7:55 a.m. Monday through Friday, and we don't miss a day. We're currently going on 45 weeks straight, and it's absolutely amazing. So if that's something that you need, stay tuned. August, we're rolling out. If you're interested in it, man, shoot me a DM. And all the links are in my bio. So check us out. And if you need counseling, coaching, you need somebody to help you with your family, go to resolvecc.com, book a session with me, and I promise you I got you.
Man, we are Let's Talk Like Men, and we are out.
See y'all next
Peace.
week.